This is Bergin. Leave a message and I'll call you back.
Bergin Riddle was a government hunter and trapper in California. He relocated to Reserve, New Mexico, largely because he wanted to be in the area where Ben Lilly had frequented. This is part 2 in a series which consists of voice recordings of Tim Pittman and Bergin Riddle. And this won't be for everyone because it goes into topics that not everyone's going to be interested in. And it's phone conversations, so the audio quality is not that great, I suppose. But hopefully there's someone out there that's going to be as fascinated by this man and by this topic as I was and am. Some of the information that I got from Tim and Bergin was kind of shocking to my system because it filled in some puzzle pieces that had been missing for all these years and probably in the long run don't even matter, but I had puzzled over them for so many years that I was just a refreshing discovery for me. I hope someone out there enjoys this as much as I do, or even just a fraction as much as I do. All right, have fun.
I say, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good.
I didn't know if I could get in touch with you, whether you were sleeping of a day and working at night or what, you know.
Yeah, I kind of work all hours. It's just hard to, best thing to do is just what you did, just try and yeah. So.
Well, I enjoyed the book you wrote. It was real good.
Oh, thank you. Tell me a little bit about your history.
Oh, there's not much to it, really.
Well, I've heard some things.
Well, I wouldn't even know where to start on it, David. I'd have to write it down and think about it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I started with dogs back in the first hounds that we had I was just a kid. We had them back in the 50s.
Okay.
And started lion hunting then. I had just got out of the service in 1955, and I was just turning 21. I went in when I was 17, so I got out at 21, but they discharged me about a month or two early, and I tied in with the guy there in California, Ted Hasty.
Okay.
And, me and him hunted together quite a bit. He caught quite a few lions. He was catching lions before I ever even thought about catching a lion, and he had some pretty good little walker dogs. And he's the guy that got me into the line of dogs that Little Millie and them are out of, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ted went into the service after I was already out. He was about 3 or 4 years younger than me, and they stationed him up at Fort Lewis, Washington.
Oh, okay.
Got acquainted with Earl Kendall there.
Oh.
So he started hunting with Earl. Ted didn't drink or cuss or anything like that. The worst word you'd hear Ted say was, "Gosh dang, them dogs are running a deer," or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, he spent his weekends, I think, mostly with Earl Kendall.
Oh.
And he hunted with Little Millie, and there was a daughter to Little Millie named Bess. And her dad was a dog called Arkansas Boone. She was out of Arkansas Boone and Little Millie.
Okay.
But anyway, Ted told me that Little Millie was the smartest little dog that he ever seen as far as catching a bobcat, you know.
That's what a lot of people said. Everybody I talked to up in that area said the same thing, about her.
Yeah. Well, she was quite a famous little dog. John Cason eventually bought her. He was a part-time movie actor down there in San Fernando Valley there in California, and he had a kennel out on Foothill Boulevard, and he advertised California Mac Twain quite a bit in the Full Cry.
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember that dog.
And he wound up buying Little Millie and Bess off of Earl Kendall. He had enough money back in those days to foot the bill, you know. The rest of us was eating beans, and he was kind of rolling in the dough, you know.
Okay.
So anyway, he went up there, and now this is what Earl Kendall told my brother. This came from my brother, and he's honest about things.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, Earl Kendall told him all about how John Cason acted when he came up there. He wanted to get the price down, so he refused to buy the dogs right off the bat, and he left, and then he'd call back and from a ways down the road, and then he'd go back up and talk to Earl Kendall some more. And finally he got the dogs bought, and I think he paid $2,100 for the two of them.
Okay.
Paid $1,500 for Little Millie, so that left $300 for Bess.
Okay.
And anyway, John came on back down to California.
And then, what year was that, do you think?
Well, John got killed in about 1960 or 61 in a car wreck.
Oh.
And that threw Little Millie and Bess back out on the market.
Okay.
They went to his brother up in Hanford, California, Glenn Kaysen. And I don't think Glenn was much of a hunter, but anyway, he wound up with the dogs. And that's where I went up and seen Little Millie.
Okay.
And I went up there, she was laying there in a pen. I couldn't get her to come over where I could pet her and really look her over, but that was my first encounter with Little Millie, actually.
Okay.
And anyway, Ted, my friend Ted Hasty, he wound up buying Bess, the daughter of Little Millie.
Okay.
And then me and my brother got Bess off of Ted. We hunted with him. We all hunted together, us three guys, all the time. And I started making a deal with Ted to get Bess because she throwed such good pups, you know.
Oh.
Hard-headed dogs. Them dogs was real hard-headed, though, hard to break on you. I don't think we ever got, actually, I can't understand how we caught as much game as we did, with them dogs being about halfway broke, you know.
Yeah.
They were hard-headed, they'd go real good for a while, and then pretty soon it'd be a deer race out of them, you know.
Okay.
A coyote or something like that. But,
yeah.
But they were good dogs. If I could get back into them today, which you can't, because they're not here anymore. But
okay.
I'd probably go back, even at my age, I'd probably go back to hunting pretty hard.
Okay.
But they were good dogs.
Huh.
The Little Millie dog was single registered.
Okay.
Earl Kendall, and I guess Earl Kendall registered her, and he got her from a guy by the name of Cecil Sargent. I don't know if you're familiar with Cecil Sargent.
Well, I've talked to him. I assume he must be gone now, because I talked to him a couple times, and then his phone number didn't work anymore after that. And I know he was pretty old. I don't know.
Yeah.
If
I didn't know. I corresponded with him. I still got his letter here somewhere, telling me about the Tant dogs, but I never did know how old he was.
Okay. Yeah.
The reason I wrote to Cecil Sargent, David, was because he ran a quarter-page ad in Full Cry offering some pups for sale, and he made the big bold statement that his dogs were the Charlie Tant dogs. Well, I knew Charlie real well and was hunting with him at that time.
Okay.
And so I took that old Full Cry to Charlie's camp. Charlie just lived in the brush like an animal. He never lived in a house or anything like that, you know.
Oh.
The dogs. And I took that into camp to Charlie, and he looked it all over, and he was a funny old character. He had to know him to know his humor and stuff. But anyway, he says, oh, yeah, that Cecil Sargent's got 4 dogs from me. And evidently, Little Millie was one of them.
Oh.
The way I understood it, Earl Kendall got Little Millie from Cecil Sargent.
Oh.
And then he registered.
Okay.
Registered as, her dad is Bounce, and her mother is Nan. Bounce and Nan.
Okay.
And then in the next generation, there's a dog there called Tant something other. I don't remember just what that was. But they were actually, they just made those names up as far as I could figure, because she was a pure Tant dog.
Okay.
I could tell when I looked at her that she was all Tant.
Okay.
And anyway, Charlie told me how that Cecil Sargent got the dogs from him. So I wrote to Cecil Sargent, and he answered my letter and everything. I've still got it here somewhere. But he told me that he thought Charlie's dogs were better than the average dog because of the way that Charlie raised them. He just left them loose like coyote pups.
Yeah.
And, they learned to get out there and run them jackrabbits around. Charlie lived up in Bishop, California, and that was some big, wide, open country, good mountains and high desert country. there's quite a bit of game in it, and them pups could run coyotes or gray fox cat or whatever.
Okay.
But they acted like coyotes. You go into camp, they'd all run and scatter and hide, you know. Kind of timid. That was one trait that Charlie had in his dogs. They were timid dogs.
Yeah.
Around strangers, they may not perform very good.
Well, I understood he didn't really want anybody picking his dogs up. I mean...
Well, they couldn't hardly catch him, that's for a fact.
Yeah.
They were pretty wild.
Huh.
So, Charlie was hunting over in Utah, and when he left Utah, he went back over into Nevada and then on back into California there, and he left 2 pups that he couldn't gather up. I don't know if he even tried to catch them, but he left 2 dogs running wild there in the brush, and Stan Meekum, I think it was Stan Meekum from up here in Utah, he trapped them. He caught those dogs, and that was his start of the Tant dogs.
Oh, wow.
He liked them real well. He got in touch with me, wanted to breed into my dogs, all of that kind of stuff, you know.
Okay.
Which he was welcome to if he wanted to, but we never did do it.
Well, did you have the Tant blood too, or?
Well, I had as good a Tant blood, as pure, probably better than anybody in the United States besides Charlie.
Okay.
I got my dogs right straight out of Charlie's dogs.
Okay.
I took his old rounder dog, which was his main dog. I took him home and with me and hunted him all one winter and bred him to a little Tant female that I had. Well, I bred him to 2 Tant females, and one was a bad cross. There was everything in the world wrong with them. And the other was a good cross. There wasn't anything wrong with the one litter, and they were just about 100% Tant.
Okay.
And that's the dogs that I hunted all along while I hunted, you know.
Okay.
Was that line of dogs.
Huh.
I was talking to a guy, you probably read his articles in the Full Tribe. His name's Randy Oller.
Yeah, I know Randy.
Yeah, well, I talked to him on the phone here a few years back, and I guess he didn't know that I had the Tant dogs right then. And he told me, he said, I had the last pure Tant dogs that there was. And he told me this big spew about it, you know. It didn't quite fit in just right.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to think about Randy sometimes.
Well, I don't know. You know, I just called him to talk to him because he's always writing those ads or that article. And,
yeah.
well, I'd call him and talk to him. Somebody told me to do it. I don't even remember who it was.
Yeah.
But I called him, and anyway, during the conversation, he said that he had the last Tant dogs, but he didn't have them anymore.
Okay.
I had Tant dogs tied right out here under my trees right then. I didn't tell him that, though. I didn't say
Okay.
it.
Yeah. Well, what happened to your dogs?
Well, I just eventually bred them out. I slowed down on my hunting as I got older, and
Okay.
didn't make the crosses and stuff that I needed to make and what have you, and I just let them die out.
Oh, okay.
There's not hardly any of that Tant blood left. I've got a very small percentage of it up here in some dogs. A couple of dogs I've got, but it's so small I don't even consider it being there, and I didn't breed it in. A guy by the name of Danny Hendrick, they had some of the Tant blood.
Okay.
And he gave me a couple of pups, and they've also got a little border collie in them.
Oh.
2 pups, and they're the ones that's got a little bit of Tant blood in them, but not very much.
Okay. Huh. Did you, was he hunting bobcats with him, or what was he hunting?
Yeah, well, I line hunted a lot, but I bobcat hunted a lot, too.
Okay.
Yeah, they were good. They were real good bobcat dogs. Good lion or good bobcat dogs. They were just a little bit different than most lion dogs. They had that extra gear that they could kick in whenever the lion was ready.
Okay.
When you jumped him or was ready to be jumped.
Yeah.
They could run like greyhounds.
Okay.
They were real fast, slim dogs, you know.
Yeah. Where do you think that came from?
Well, it's the old. They were all according to Charlie's sister Cleo, she's dead now, but she said that they were originally in Texas. Charlie came out of Bandera, Texas.
Okay.
And brought the dogs with him, and his sister Cleo said they were fox dogs.
Okay.
And that's what they were. Actually, that's what they were. A lot of them come flag-tailed and real dark pop eyes, you know. And,
okay.
And built just like fox dogs.
Yeah.
Running dogs.
But they treat good, huh?
Some of them. Not all of them were good tree dogs. That was one thing about Charlie's dogs that you had to kind of watch. In a litter, you may get one or two that didn't want a tree at all.
Oh, okay.
And you may get 2 or 3 in it that would just try to tear a tree down, you know.
Oh.
Just depended on how their genes stacked up, I guess.
Yeah, right.
I never had any trouble with all the time I had the Tant dogs and bred them and everything. I never had any trouble with the dogs leaving any game up a tree. You know, they always treat hard enough for me to get there and
Okay.
take the game if I wanted it.
Yeah.
But they excelled on Bobcat. They were real good Bobcat dogs.
Okay. What do you know? What kind of running dog do you suppose was that the Goodman or?
Well, no, they were walker dogs.
Oh, walkers. Okay.
Yeah, they were walkers. Yeah, Charlie Tant was famous as the famous California lion hunter with the walker dogs.
Okay.
I've got lots of old clippings on Charlie back when he was a young man. He hunted right there where I was raised, just south of Santa Barbara, California. He hunted all of that country when he came into California, which was in 1917 or 18. He came out of Bandera, Texas.
Okay.
And brought the dogs with him. And then he went back to Texas, and according to his sister, Cleo, and he picked up another dog or two that they had there and took it back to California. And he had told Cleo that the walker dogs took the lions just like ducks to water. And they did. They were real good lion dogs.
Okay. That country, did that have a lot of gray fox in that country too?
Oh, loads of them.
Okay.
Lots of gray fox and lots of bobcat.
Okay.
If I could go back and do it all over again, of course, they've ruined that country. There's so many people over there, and you can't even run a bobcat in California anymore. Back in those days, there was just bobcats everywhere, and I'm sure there probably still is. And I could just go a couple of miles from my house and have all the gray fox and bobcat running that I wanted.
Oh, okay. Do you know, did you know Ray Nelson?
Yeah, I met him a couple of different times, yeah.
What town do you know where he was from?
Yeah, he lived in a little town called Bradley.
Oh, okay.
Which was up the coast there, above San Luis Obispo there.
Oh, all right.
Seems like that he done a lot of dog running on a military base there. I think it was called Hunter Liggett.
Oh, okay.
Military base. It would show it on a map, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I met Ray. He's a good guy. I liked him.
Did you know David Benepe?
Pardon?
Did you ever hear of David Benepe?
How do you spell that last name?
It's Benepe.
No, I don't guess so.
Okay. Well, I know he knew Ray, but because he talked about Ray, but I wasn't sure. I was never sure where Ray lived. But,
yeah, well, he lived up. Steve Mathis was there by Paso Robles, and Ray, I think, lived right on up above him there at Bradley.
Oh, okay.
They were big buddies, Steve Mathis and Ray. They were big friends.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, the guy that introduced me to Ray Nelson was Steve Mathis' nephew, Maynard Small.
Okay.
He's a government trapper.
All right.
Maynard, I used to work for the government as a trapper. Maynard's territory and my territory butted up against each other. So Maynard had the little Mathis dogs, and I had the Tant dogs, and a bobcat was easy to trap. I mean, we could always have a cat raised.
Okay.
Maynard would always tell me, hey, be sure to bring a couple of bobcats and I'll meet you Tuesday, you know. So I'd have maybe two bobcats and a couple of gunny sacks. And we'd turn them loose and run them with the Mathis dogs and the Tant dogs, you know.
Okay.
Just having fun. I finally quit, and Maynard went on to become a supervisor.
Okay. What did you think of the Mathis dogs? I've hunted with some up in Oregon and stuff. To me, they didn't make real good bobcat dogs. I thought but I don't know. And supposedly they were right from Steve.
Well, the last Mathis dogs that I knew of was from Dick Muldoon, and he lived right up above me up here. As a matter of fact, he followed me into New Mexico, and he had the Mathis dogs. He got the last ones that Steve had.
Okay.
And, well, just to be downright honest with you, I didn't care for the little dogs. They just wasn't my kind of dog, I guess.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about them. I always feel bad because people like them so well, but I never hunted lion much. So I assume they must have just been lion dogs because I didn't really see that they were too much good for bobcat.
Yeah. Well, I guess Steve caught enough gray fox and bobcat with them, but you know, David, I think that those dogs were just kind of you know, they were just kind of made by Steve the way that he wanted a dog.
Yeah.
And they fitted right in with Steve, but not with other people so much.
Okay.
And there used to be a guy that was a good bobcat hunter in Southern California. His name was Bud Graves. His son was Ronnie Graves. You may have heard of him.
Yeah, I've heard the names, both of them, yeah.
Well, they was both real good hunters. They're both gone on now, but Bud Graves made the statement that if Steve Mathis had just had the dog power, that Steve was a hunter. Steve was a heck of a hunter.
Yeah.
If he just had the dog power, as good as he was a hunter, that he would have just caught every lion in the country.
Okay.
But Bud didn't hold his dogs too high.
Okay.
Oh, Al Rennick?
Yeah.
Al Rennick. Well, he was a bear hunter, yeah.
Okay.
He had Walker dogs.
Okay, but they were timid dogs too. I mean, a stranger could not catch those dogs either. But he was I thought he was a government hunter in California. Is that? Do you know anything more?
I don't know if he was a government hunter or not, but I know that he was an outstanding bear hunter.
Okay.
Reputation, you know.
But you don't know.
Walker dogs.
Okay. You don't know where his dogs came from, do you?
No, I don't know.
Oh, okay. Huh.
No.
Because the temperament sound, when I hear the temperament described of Al Rennick's dogs, it sounds a lot like the temperament of, you know, Charlie Tant's dogs. But I that's why I was just curious if they ever connected, you know.
I don't really know, David, whether they did or not. I couldn't say anything on that. I don't know.
Okay. Huh. Interesting. Well, I sure wish there was a way to capture all that history and, you know.
Yeah, a lot of it just gets away, you know. And
yeah.
most of these guys today, they don't even know what we lived through, you know, how it was back, let's say, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
When everything was, you could bobcat hunt anytime. You could, in California, they still had a bounty on the lion. You could bounty him, and everybody thought you was a hero if you come dragging a lion in. Nowadays, they want to crucify you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird, there's some weird stuff going on.
It's kind of like the Bible says, you know. I know you've read the Bible, but it says that they will substitute good for bad and bad for good.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Turned everything around.
Yeah, it's really true. It's really true. Now, when you do good, then you're called bad. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, And what town do you live in now?
Well, Reserve.
Reserve. Okay.
I'm not in town. I'm 13 miles out. I live here by myself, and I'm up in the woods. I got a million pine trees around me here.
Oh, nice. Huh. Well, you say guys have followed you there. I mean, did they visit you and just fell in love with it?
Well, I knew them in California. I knew Dave Hendrick and his boy Danny before I ever left California. Matter of fact, I met them. They wanted to breed to my dogs because they heard I had the Tant dogs, and they called me, and I got acquainted with them, and we bred their dog to my dog, and I don't think it ever had pups.
Oh.
But eventually they went to Charlie Tant's camp, and they bred to his dogs there in camp, and they got some half Tant dogs, and they were real high on them. They really liked them.
Okay.
Real well.
So Charlie never...
Go ahead.
Well, you said he never even had a house, or?
Oh, no. He lived out in the back of his old pickup. He had about a 47 Dodge pickup, and he had an old wooden frame on the back of the bed with a piece of canvas thrown over it. And he slept in there, and he just stayed out in the brush.
Yeah.
Every time I'd go visit with Charlie, I stopped down at this certain place there. It used to be an old Wells Fargo building, and the people in there would know something about where Charlie was. Oh, where's Charlie at now? Well, he's up by the windmill, or he's over on Wild Rose, and I'd have to go dig him up, go find him.
And how many dogs was he feeding?
Oh, Charlie usually kept a minimum of about 4 dogs, maybe 5 or 6.
Okay.
I've got lots of good pictures of Charlie Tant with his dogs and lions and stuff.
Okay.
They're real good ones.
Well, what do you know?
He's talking about those Mathis dogs. Dick Muldoon, he always wanted to give me a couple of Mathis dogs, and one of his big dreams was that I would cross my Walker dogs, my Tant Walkers, in on the Mathis dogs. But we never did do that. I really didn't want to do it, and so it just never did happen,
Okay.
But Dick Muldoon, I wish he was alive today, but he's long gone. But he knew Charlie Tant as well as I did, or better.
Oh, okay.
When Charlie got sick right there near the end before he died, Dick took him into his home and took care of him and everything. A lot of people try to discredit Dick with that stuff, but I know all of that to be a fact because I went to Dick's house more than once and visited with Charlie while he was there,
Oh, okay.
And visited him just before he died there in Lone Pine, California.
Okay.
And Dick put the marker on Charlie's grave there in the graveyard.
Oh.
But Jack Ball, when he writes his articles, he don't want to give Dick any credit for anything like that. But believe me, Dick knew more about Charlie Tant and than all of the rest of them put together.
Okay. Huh. Well, now, where's this Jack Ball from?
Jack originally was from up around San Jose, California. I think he went to college there. He's well educated. He's got a degree, I guess, in college there. But I met Jack one time at a field trial over in California, and he's just a small guy, not a very big guy.
Okay.
My best recollection of him was he had kind of light, smoky blue eyes and kind of a hair lip a little bit. And but he was all right. I talked with him quite a bit. I told him how some of the dogs I had there was bred, and then he went around and asked other guys that knew me if I was lying to him.
Oh, okay.
I got a kick out of that. I had nothing to lie to him about.
Yeah.
But he kind of tangles things up. This picture that he's got in this Full Cry magazine with the dogs on the back of that low boy trailer, I know all of those dogs by name. I can name you every one of them sitting there just the way they are.
Wow.
Have you ever seen that picture?
No.
Do you take full cry?
I'm getting it right now, but I went years without getting it, so I might have missed it.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, I'm not subscribed to it, but this guy that I shoot pool with quite a bit, he subscribes to full cry.
Okay.
So there was no need for me to subscribe because he just reads it in a hurry and he just brings it right down and passes it on to me.
Yeah.
I don't think I've missed an issue in 3 years, and I haven't even got a subscription. I can't write into full cry to correct anybody on anything because they would reject it because I'm not a subscriber, you know.
Oh.
I don't think they would have much to do with somebody writing something or saying something that, or voicing your opinion, especially if it disagrees with somebody else that does subscribe.
Okay. Well, when was that picture? Was it recently?
Yeah, it was. It's probably in the last 4 months, I'd say. Maybe I wouldn't go back no further than five magazines.
Oh, okay.
This is January, so it would be, I'd say about 4 or 5 magazines back.
Okay.
It's by Jack Fall, and it's got a good picture. It's the only picture he says in the article that he's got of Charlie Tant.
Okay.
And he took it there, and he wrote this story about Charlie Tant, and he tells you right in it that it is based on about 5 minutes of talking with Charlie, and that's all that he knew about Charlie.
Okay.
About 5 minutes, he said, of talking, and so he kind of based his opinion on that.
Yeah.
And if I wrote and told it, Jack, that he was wrong in any of that stuff that he said and tried to correct him, I think he would just get mad. So I wrote him a long time ago, and we corresponded for a while, but we didn't have any hard feelings. We just kind of slowed off and stopped writing, to each other.
Yeah.
He had wrote to Dick Muldoon, and he didn't like Dick Muldoon at all. He just was really down on him.
Oh.
Dick told him something about Charlie Tant. Jack Ball could have went to the bank with it because it would have probably been right.
Yeah.
Dick knew Steve Mathis real well, too. That's the reason he was breeding those Mathis dogs right there. I read letters that Steve wrote to Dick telling him how to breed them and one thing and another, and to be sure to take care of the little red dogs and all of that stuff.
Okay, yeah.
I had several letters here of my own from Steve that me and him had corresponded over the years, and Dick borrowed all of them, and I think he photocopied them, and then he returned them all to me.
Oh.
I think I still got them here.
Okay. But you really like New Mexico, huh?
Well, yeah, I do. You're more free here than anywhere I've ever lived. I mean, I can walk right out of my yard right here, and just right behind me is a primitive area, the Blue Range primitive area, and it's a big area. No vehicles can go in it, no chainsaws or nothing like that. But it's open hunt, and it's got lions in it, javelina, deer, elk, raccoons, whatever. But anyway, I do just whatever I want to do, and nobody ever hassles me about anything.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
I don't even buy a hunting license because I talked to the game warden, and I told him, I said, we've got a coyote season here that is open the year round, and no license is required by a resident, and you can hunt them or kill a coyote any way you want to, dogs, bow and arrow, whatever. And I told him, I said, I'm not going to buy a line tag and put up with the game and fish hassling me all the time about reporting what I did. At the end of the year, you've got to report everything you've done if you're a trapper or a hunter of any kind.
Oh.
So I don't even I don't go into the paperwork with them. I just take my dogs and go into the woods.
Yeah.
I tree a lion or I tree a bobcat or whatever, which is very seldom anymore. I don't kill it, and I'm not being paid by anybody to harvest an animal. So it's just a fun thing with me.
Yeah.
So I told the game warden that I wasn't going to buy a license and stuff, that I was going to run coyotes, and he said, well, there you go. So we just left it at that.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds pretty nice. Sounds like you got living in heaven down there, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's. I've really enjoyed living here. I've been here for. Well, I came in. Actually, the first time I come in and looked it over was in '78. And one reason that I wanted to come in here and look, when I was in the service on Kwajalein, that's a little island out in the Marshall Islands in the Pacific. Somebody had got a Sports Afield or a Field and Stream magazine from home, one of the guys, and they always made the rounds. Everybody read them. So when I got it, I was reading it, and there was a little short story on Ben Lilly.
Oh.
I'm sure you've heard of him.
Oh, yeah.
And anyway, Ben Lilly was keeping track of this grizzly bear for this rich oil man by the name of McFadden that lived in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And he had told Ben to keep tabs on this bear that he wanted to harvest him. So that's what Ben Lilly was doing. He was trailing this bear around all year, and McFadden was gone over to Europe or somewhere to make an oil deal or something, and Lilly stayed with that bear all through the winter and everything. And it was an interesting story, and that kind of fired me up, you know.
Yeah.
I thought if I ever get out of this service, I'm going to do something like that. So that kind of always stuck with me. And Ben Lilly was known to be around Reserve, New Mexico. So I got that book, The Ben Lilly Legend, by J. Frank Dobie, and I read that, and that inspired me quite a bit. And so I always remembered that Ben Lilly hunted in around Reserve, New Mexico, and Silver City.
Okay.
So I wanted to see this country. So in '78, I came in here, and I really liked it.
Okay.
And I had my mother with me. We were actually going to Alabama to visit a sister that had moved back there. And I told my mom, I said, let's go out to California and put the place up for sale and move to New Mexico. And she said, well, I'm game if you want to do that. So we did that. And I built her a nice house here, and I built the cabin that I'm in. And this was just a raw piece of land. I had to get electricity in and had to get a well drilled and a phone put in and all that stuff. But it all worked out okay.
Oh, boy. So that was in 1978?
That was in 1980.
Oh, 1980.
78, I first came in and looked the place over before I could get my place sold in California.
Okay.
And everything squared away and buy me a piece of land over here. It was 1980.
Okay.
It took me a couple of years to get that done.
Yeah.
And then I moved in here in 1980.
Okay.
And, I've been right here ever since.
Huh. Well, you did good, I guess, because you...
Well, it's been a peaceful, you know, they won't say in this time really flies when you're having fun. I guess when you're got a pretty well satisfied mind, time also flies, because I've never been bothered by anybody or anything over here.
Yeah.
In this country.
Yeah, that's great.
And it's big country, lots of mountains, just loads of mountains and timber, and we don't have a lot of water. That's one thing you're a little bit shy of, but I've got a creek right below me here. I live in the canyon called Solis Canyon, and this little creek, Solis Creek, it runs the year round.
Oh. You didn't have any trouble digging a well, though, right, for water?
No problem at all. The guy that I had drilled it for me, he went down, he hit water up. I think he hit water about 90 feet.
Okay.
Down, and then we sunk the well on down to 150 feet.
Okay.
So there's probably about 60 feet of standing water in the well.
Wow. That's pretty good water, huh?
Oh, I like it. I've never treated my well with any kind of chemicals or anything, and
yeah.
I very seldom ever get sick.
Yeah.
I drink this water every day, you know.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, if I go somewhere, if I leave here and head down towards Silver City or into Reserve or whatever, I've always got a couple of big bottles of my water with me so I can drink when I feel like it.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like you
I think people get sick by changing water. You know, just like you go change water into Old Mexico, it just almost kills you.
Yeah.
They got bugs in the water that are not compatible with your system.
Yeah, you're not used to it. Yeah. Yeah. Huh. And
I went to Old Mexico several years back before I moved in here, just before I moved over here, with a couple of older guys, and I did the driving, so they footed the bill, the expenses, and we went to Mexico City and just everywhere down there, out to the big pyramids and everything, and them guys laughed at me because I wouldn't drink the water. And boy, they both got deathly sick. I thought I was going to lose both of them in Mexico. And I never did get sick. I just would not drink the water. If I drink coffee, I told them to boil it really good, you know.
Oh.
And but I never did get sick, but they did.
Wow. Huh.
I hear a dog treat.
You got something treed right now?
Is that at your place or is that at mine?
It must be at yours because I don't have a dog.
Oh, I thought it was your place.
No.
Yeah, there's a little dog chopping it off up here on a chain. I thought it was real weak. I thought it was coming over the phone.
Oh, no. So you still have a few dogs, huh?
You know, I got a bunch of them.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I'm feeding 11 dogs now, but I've only got one real good broke trained lion dog.
Oh, okay.
The rest of them are just dogs.
Yeah.
I kind of like them, but they're just dogs. I've got two females that there's a professional hunter here named Nick Chappell, and he bred into Warner Glenn's lion dogs down at Douglas, Arizona. He got these two females, so they're white dogs, but they're kind of the heavy-made type of a walker.
Okay.
They come out, I think he got basically Finley River Chief behind him a lot.
Okay.
Anyway, I brought them home with me, and I've got them up here. And then Danny Hendrick, that's Dave's son, he's a real lion hunter. And he gave me two puppies. That's the ones that I told you got a little bit of border collie in them.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, he put a little border collie in his dogs, but he's still catching lions with them, so I don't think it hurt him a bit.
Yeah, I know.
And I think they'd be real good Bobcat dogs if we had to. If they're real fast dogs, not very big, and I think they'd be real good on Bobcat.
Yeah.
They basically have all of the hound characteristics, but they act more like cur dogs.
Okay.
But I've got five young dogs of that cross. A friend of mine gave me a female that he had bred up. I don't know what all is in her. She's got a lot of running dog in her, I know that, and she accidentally got bred to the male dog that Danny Hendrick gave me. I got them tied too close together, and he bred her.
Oh, okay.
So I just kept the litter of puppies, and I've got them on the string up here now, and I think they would have just made really good dogs for somebody that was hunting.
Yeah.
They handle real good. They handle like cur dogs, but they hunt hard, real hard. And they got a little border collie in them, but that don't hurt them.
Yeah.
I didn't like that at first because when I told Danny, I said, Danny, I want to borrow your old female and breed her to one of my dogs and get me a litter of pups. And his old female was pure hound.
Oh.
Well, he said, I don't want to do that, Berg. He said, she's got tumors all over her breast and everything else, and she's 14 years old and what have you. And I said, well, okay. And he said, well, I've got a litter of pups over there now, and you can have one of those if you want it. And I said, well, are they full hound? And he said, oh, yeah. So when I go to pick it up, he makes me take two of them. He says, I want you to take that male dog along with that little female that I'm giving you there, and take the two of them. And, well, I could see right away that they had the border collie in them.
Oh.
But I didn't say anything. I just brought them on home and raised them up, and they're just nice dogs. I mean, I can take them hunting through these mountains, and I can get back home with them, no problem. I hunt my dogs loose. I don't lead them or nothing like that.
Oh, okay.
When I drop the tailgate and start pulling one of these ridges or one of these canyons, my dogs are all loose. I might take as many as 7 or 8
okay.
at one time. But I get back with all of them.
Yeah.
I don't hardly ever leave a dog in the woods. Of course, I put a shock collar on each dog.
Yeah.
I've got six shock collars, Tritronics, and I put a shock collar on each dog and a tracking collar on each dog. So I know where they're at, and I can hit them if I want to hit them.
Yeah.
Just make them listen up, you know.
Yeah.
But they handle good. They handle real good.
You don't use mules or anything, huh? Horses?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't. A guy could use a mule here to a real advantage, I think. But I sold my mules. I had 2 really good mules I brought from California with me, and my little roping horse. I used to rope quite a bit. I brought him with me, but I got rid of all of them.
Oh.
And I had quit hunting altogether, David, and wasn't going to hunt anymore at all. And I let my Tant dogs die out and everything. And
yeah.
Then I decided that I needed the exercise.
Okay.
So that was the reason that I wanted to get some puppies or something, get back in the business, and maybe they would make me go out here and hunt some, or otherwise I wouldn't go, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, and they have so far. Been doing okay with them. But that was the way that I got back into the so-called hunting. Actually, I'm not hunting. I don't care if I catch anything or not. It doesn't make any difference. I just like to pull these big, long ridges and drop off in these canyons just to see what's in there.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And did you ever marry?
Years ago, back in the 50s, I was married for about 2 weeks, and that was it.
Oh, okay.
I've never married since then.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I was married to, have not been married for about 20 years now. But
yeah, well, in your book, you mentioned with your first wife, you guys had separated.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminded me when I read that. Did you ever read that book called Soul Among Lions?
No.
That's by Hardy Shaw. He was a biologist doing the lion study over here in Arizona.
Okay.
And he wrote a good book. If you can get your hands on that one, and you can order any of those books from High Lonesome Books down here in Silver City.
Okay.
And he advertises in full cry, High Lonesome.
Yeah.
Dutch Salmon.
Yeah, I've talked to him before. He was kind of interested in my book. I'll probably end up giving him some books one of these days.
Yeah. Yeah, Dutch is all right. I like him. He's okay.
Oh, good. That's good to hear.
What was I telling you?
Oh, about Soul Among Lions by...
oh, yeah. That when you mentioned in your book that you and your first wife had separated, it reminded me of Hardy Shaw and the 2 other guys that went with him up on the north rim of the Grand Canyon to do a lion study up there.
Okay.
They pulled in, the mud was knee deep, and they had an old water tank outside the cabin, I think it was, had a dead bird or a rat or 2 in it, and so they all had their wives with them.
Oh.
And anyway, he tells all about it, how bad it was there, and then he says, since then, we've all got divorced. I can see all of that coming.
Yeah, right.
when you go to the dogs and stuff like that, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. Hmm. Well, I probably should let you go. I actually was on my list to try to get back to you today, so I'm really glad you.
Oh.
Really glad you called.
I didn't really. I tried you before and left a message on the voice box deal or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you got that or not.
Yeah, I did. Yep, and I was looking forward to talking to you. So it's really been a.
Well, anytime you want to converse, just give me a buzz.
Really? Okay. Yeah, it's been fun for me.
Are you still driving the truck?
Yeah, still driving. I'm up here in the oil up here in North Dakota.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, I wrote, when I ordered that book from you, I wrote a little note on my check or on a piece of paper, I think it was, and asked you where Ross, Dakota was.
Oh, okay.
You said about 60 miles west of, what was the town?
That would have been of Minot.
Yeah.
Yeah, west of Minot.
I looked it up on the map and I found it then. Otherwise, I would have never found it, but you had it just about right.
Yeah, I remember that, and I remember getting your order and just wondering, about your life and all that. So it's kind of been fun, but. Well,
I had to hurry and read that. I didn't really get a chance to let everything soak in, but I had to hurry and read it because my neighbor down the road here, Pat Wantland, he wanted to borrow it. He wanted it before I even got it halfway read. And then there's another dog man over in Socorro over here. He stopped by and he wanted me to loan it to him before I loaned it to Pat because Pat won't return a book. He just keeps them, you know. And he's got my book right now.
Oh, okay. Making the rounds, huh?
I may have to order another book from you before I'm done.
All right. Well, that's good. I'm glad some people are getting some fun out of it.
Okay, David. I'll keep in touch with you.
All right. Good. Yeah. Thank you. You have a great day.
Okay. You take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye.